Oh, it's the top. It's definitely the pinnacle. It's the only reason I started doing this sport. It's because I had the one goal that I wanted to win this race.
The coast to coast for us all as Kiwis is incredibly iconic. It's all really well known, it's really well respected as a very tough event and a really challenging event and quite a Kiwi event too.
If you really had to describe it in depth, it would just be a horrendously hard challenge in which you ring it all out and put it all on the line. You paddle, run and cycle from one side of the country to the next, and it's yeah, certainly one of the hardest things you'll do.
Even just competing and completing the whole event I think it's a pretty huge achievement and pretty amazing. And you can say, I just raced from one side to the other side of New Zealand, west to the east. It's like, wow, that's pretty big, yeah.
I think in the multisport world, there's just something different about this race. It really draws people to train harder than they've trained for any other race, and they know that the best will be here. So we all come here just really wanting to have the best race we can.
The Main Divide. This is the name given to the mountain range which separates the plains of the east coast from the forests of the west. Wild coastlines, temperate rainforests, raging rivers and high alpine peaks, all condensed into a relatively narrow strip of land dividing two oceans. Every February for over 30 years, competitors from all over the world have lined up on the sands of Kamada Beach and embarked upon one of the toughest sporting challenges in the world. They bike, run and kayak their way over the Main Divide and across the Canterbury Plains to the beach in Christchurch. 220 kilometres over the top of the Southern Alps, from the Tasman Sea to the Pacific Ocean. This is the World Championships of Multisport and has been the launch pad for some of the best endurance athletes in the world. The competitors gather in the dark for the start of the longest day event. Among them, Braden Curry, winner of the last two Speight's coast-to-coast events.
I did my first one, had a really good race, really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun. That was, now 4 years ago, actually. And that's probably what hooked me, even though I didn't win, I got third, which is, I was aiming to win, but I was pretty happy to make it on the podium. But I think most of all, I just had a really good day. I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun. And then from then on, I've been racing sort of non-stop for the last 3 years. Now it's backing up my hopefully third win and fourth coast to coast. And to me, it is my sort of iconic race of the year. It's something that means a lot to me. It's where it started for me. And it's got sort of all the elements for me. So to be able to do it again and prove that I'm one of the world's best at it, or am the world's best at it, then that'll be a great feeling and a huge achievement. It's still the same, I head down straight to the beach as soon as I can. I touch the water. I really enjoy it. I just think it's a good time, everyone's there for the same reason. It's dark, everyone's waking up, there's some good talk going on, and yeah, it's just a good laugh amongst mates before you really start to smash it hard.
And if you're looking for a spot for your bags, you'll see a big pile about 15 metres down there by the truck. It's just hard to find them in the dark, so that way we can get them back to you.
How's that injury, Reece?
Yeah.
It's going great. Yeah, okay. Good, hey, have a good one. Yeah, teach you young boys a bit of a lesson out there today. How's your heart, Nathan?
3, 2, 1, go!
The big goal for me is to have a smooth start and get myself in the top bunch from the start. Potential low point there is not making that bunch, and that's where you lose time immediately without the day having really started. So it's really important to have a good start.
Yeah, it's always quite exciting in the morning when everybody's standing there on the start line, and normally the start starts with 3K run and everybody starts together, so it's really, really fast running because you want to be in a good bunch on the first ride.
"80 kilometres away, the two-day competitors are emerging. They're halfway through their challenge. Having traversed their way through the mountain run on day one, they've camped overnight and are preparing to tackle day two, the 70-kilometre kayak down the Waimakariri River.
I think the 2 day is very important for the race, and having all the different categories as well, where people can do teams of the 2 day, tandem, racing with a friend, you know, the whole way through. It's critical for skill development and confidence, building confidence and learning the race, because the coast to coast is sort of different from any other race.
So I became fascinated with the coast to coast when I was a teenager, about 15 or 16 years old. And I remember seeing it on television, and it looked like these people were just living life on the edge, and they were just alive. They were just running through these mountains. I had to wait till I was 18. Back then you had to do the 2 day race before you could do the 1 day, so the whole thing was just, well, it was literally a life-changing experience for me. It was, yeah, it had a huge impact.
One of the big things I love about the 2 day race is the atmosphere is so much more vibrant and jovial, and you get so much time to sort of catch up with other athletes and realise what motivates different people and sort of find out a bit more about where the coast to coast started.
Yeah, I remember looking at it and thinking, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to get across all this, and but you do. You just bite it off in chunks and have your sleep at night time and get up in the morning and away you go again.
The races, the 1 and the 2 day races really contrast in terms of the 1 day you show up and you do your own thing, you start in the dark, and by the time it's light you usually split up into quite small groups, and whereas the 2 day starts in the daylight and there's a lot more people on the start line. And then obviously you stop halfway and it consolidates the field back down into one again, and you get to see sort of other people who are having a completely different experience and trying to complete a very different journey to what you are. But you can also see how much they're enjoying that process as well.
So you are seeing more people and you are experiencing what other people are going through a lot more than in the 1 day, where no one really will want to tell anyone anything. It's all about poker face and I'm having a good day. How's yours?
So, 2 different experiences with the same outcome, the satisfaction of traversing coast to coast under your own power.
What is he? 69, 70 in September. Yeah. This is his 3rd time, unsuccessful last time, but let's come back to finish it. Can you get the pedal? Can you get the run down your own? Sure.
The 1 day race can be a lonely experience. I think initially, obviously, you've got the chance to get in a bunch on the 1 day race, and you get a bit of a chance to catch up with the other athletes, but no one's really letting their guard down. Everyone's putting on a bit of a facade of laughing things off, but deep down they're thinking about what's ahead and how they're going to beat their opponents.
Yeah, I think everyone enjoys it. I don't think there's anyone there that's thinking, oh, it'd be good if I could just be off by myself and nailing it. You got 12 hours of racing to go, and maybe just for an hour and a half, it's good just to have some people around you and enjoy it.
Every stage of the coast is stunning. That's what is interesting, because when I knew nothing about coast to coast, I thought it was some sort of triathlon somewhere, and I didn't quite understand. And I think I was a bit gobsmacked at how adventurous it actually is. So like that run is gnarly. I don't even know why they call it a run, because it's such crazy terrain. And so the big high is being able to just get out in that environment that is New Zealand, which is pretty, and from that you can get quite a good high.
It's such a physical place in there, you know, like you're really physically bounding rock to rock, jump to jump, and every move kind of counts. I don't know if it's something I've trained myself to do, or it's just something that you can pick up and you can learn as you go, but you're forever looking forward. Where am I going to go? What route? What line's going to be quickest? But your feet are kind of doing what you saw 3 meters in front of you, which is quite a cool feeling. It's pretty funny.
When people imagine the coast to coast, that's what they think of, running up and over the Southern Alps, and that kind of encompasses what the race is about.
It is a very, very cool experience, that run, and it's one that I don't think you ever quite conquer either. Like, there's always places where you think, oh, I could take a bit more of a risk here, or I could have pushed a bit harder here, and it's something that I certainly noticed as I got a bit older and I started being a lot more aware of what would happen if I stuffed it up.
You can't just take off the handbrake once you get to the top. You can't stop pushing, because it still is a long way to go. You're gunning a lot of ground going downhill. There's tree roots, lots of rocks, and you're picking up a lot of speed going along that first few Ks, and things can go wrong.
I really enjoy the run out. You know, it's like you go to a really funny state. You got like the last, I don't know, probably half an hour that you're on the riverbed. It's reasonably flat and you can run, and it hurts a lot. You know, everything's hurting, your legs are hurting, your stride's hurting, but you just got to keep going.
For the 2-day race, it's people can see the finish. You know, they know that they're going to get to Klondike Corner, and they'll be able to stop and rest up and have a massage and get some food, and that's all good. But in the 1-day race, they're just climbing straight on their bike, and got quite a grunty little ride to get down to the start of the kayak.
You got your tractor? No, down out.
The kayaks it's something you really look forward to in the race. For me anyway, it was always a focal point to sort of get to and then sort of reset.
In 2015, the Coast to Coast enters a new era. Founder Robin Judkins retired in 2014, and the role of race director passed to 5-time race winner Richard Usher. For Richard and for the race, it's the beginning of a new era. After multiple Coast to Coast events where he's only worried about his own race, he now takes on the responsibility of ensuring several hundred athletes have a good day.
I was pretty excited when I heard Rich was taking over. There was probably several other people who could have stepped into that position, but Rich has just got that passion for the race.
Yeah, he's essentially just pushed the big refresh button, and I think that's exciting, and that's a big reason why I came back. I mean, I haven't raced this race for about 14 years, I don't think, and with the changes Rich made, the new energy around it, I kind of got sucked up in it as well.
And your survival bag, perfect.
The last few years I've really been thinking about what's next for me and after racing, and as an athlete you're very aware that your ability to race at the very highest level, it has a very short time frame really in the scheme of things, and I've been extremely lucky that over the various sports I've had almost 20 years of it. After the 2014 coast, then I basically stepped straight into the hot seat, into the race director's role in the coast to coast, and that was the start of a pretty intense year of learning and trying to get my head around everything that goes in behind making the race happen, and it was that's been a massive challenge. It's It's always nice when you can do something that you're passionate about, and it's a race that I'm passionate about, and especially about seeing the race sort of thrive for future generations.
Yeah, I'd say that the first half, it's all pretty well practiced. You know what you're going to feel like, you know how your muscles are going to feel, how your lungs are going to be burning. The second half of the race is probably a whole lot more mental, when the fatigue's starting to build in. And that kayak, I still find it individually, just doing that in a training session, at quite a long stage.
I think physically and mentally in the boat they're on a par. There's both elements there. 1 minute you're thinking about how sore your arms are getting, or your back, or how uncomfortable your butt is, and then other times your head's starting to play tricks on you and thinking that you're super tired and you're getting drowsy and there's so far to go. But yeah, both of them are really big challenges that you've just got to sit there and overcome yourself.
The whole river section's stunning, but the gorge itself is really, really beautiful, and especially when you get a nice day through there, it's a very special place. When you do it as a competitor, it's something that people really take away from the race, and it's something that not a lot of people ever get to see.
One and a half minutes down on third place. You sort of hit Woodstock and you get around the corner there and you can actually see the power lines, which is Gorge Bridge, but that's still 45 minutes away. When you get around the corner and see the bridge and start hearing the speakers and see a good crowd of people, I think you definitely get that feeling of like, we're nearly there, we're on the last leg.
No, hurry up and go get some. Okay. No water, no smoothing. I haven't had anything. Wasn't working. No. Okay. Water here, Slug.
Need some food.
Water here, mate.
It's always good to see people. Often I've paddled most of that river on my own, and to get out and have people cheering and see your crew that have worked hard all day is really an uplifting experience, and you're actually buzzing for that experience for at least the next 20 minutes.
You do see it in the one-day race that people, that's where their target is. Once they get there, they know that they can't be cut off anymore. They can basically, whatever time it takes them to get from there to the finish, that's what it takes them.
You can catch him. Yeah. You can catch him.
They can sort of touch the fact that they're going to achieve their goal once they get to that point, and so I think that there is, that's what a lot of people do visualise. It's sort of a bit of a sensory overload at the time when you go through, and then you sort of, then you get on the bike and you're solo again, and there's no one around, and you're sort of like, oh, did that actually happen?
For both the 2-day and 1-day athletes, this is the key landmark of the race. This is the home stretch, albeit a long one.
The final bike ride, in some ways it sort of finishes the race off quite nicely, because you've had all this amazing scenery and all of these things to keep you going, and then just when you're getting your tiredest, then you've actually got to make it through this sort of almost mindless last stage. It's just a flat time trial, straight roads, and I think it just adds to the feeling of achievement when they get to the finish line.
Well, over and above any other multi-sport events, the Coast to Coast is like our Olympic Games. It's our world champs, and it's where all the multi-sporters in New Zealand come together to compete at one another. I mean, there's no course like it anywhere in the world.
You can cross from one side of your country to the other. Anyone that completes that journey really feels like they've achieved something.
I remember when I crossed the finish line the first time I did Coast to Coast, and it was just the greatest feeling. I'd done it. I'd done the Coast to Coast. It was this thing that I'd been thinking about, and had been this mystical thing that people had talked about and all these sort of heroes of mine had done and done well in, and to actually have followed in their footsteps and achieve what they had achieved was just a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, the competitors, I think, a lot of the time they feel like they really are out there by themselves, you know, having to, you know, fighting to make their way through, and you know, there's lots of different factors that sort of combine to create that feeling for people, but it certainly seems to be a much more powerful emotion when they get to the finish line than in virtually any other race I've seen.
It really is an incredible feeling to see the water and, yeah, probably make those last few corners and start hearing the finishing line. I definitely remember riding through Christchurch last year. You feel pretty emotional, you know. It doesn't take much once you've been racing for 12 hours to throw you over that point, and it all sort of comes flooding back, and it's, you know, something that we all probably race for, is that sort of finishing line, and to feel that achievement and to cross it and be on the sand, and it doesn't get much better.
But the winner of the longest day World Championship, Braden Carey, #1. And this is Estelle Playwright. Well done, Estelle.
In 2015, Braden Curry makes it 3 in a row in the time of 11 hours, 27 minutes and 46 seconds. Sam Clark finishes in second, just 5 minutes behind.
Winner of the women's longest day ever.
The women's title belongs to Jess Simpson for the 2nd year in a row.
Oh, how's it?
Simone Mayer finishes second in her first attempt at the longest day, and Alina Usher completes the podium places. After an epic battle, an exhausted Trevor Voice manages to hold off Nathan Fave to take third. A very happy and satisfied Fave crosses the line in fourth.
So I think it's a really special statement about Kiwis. I think it's amazing that every year there's this pilgrimage down to the coast and people biking and running and kayaking and biking again, or whatever the order is, you know, across the island. And I think it's something we can be really proud of. I think it says a lot about the sort of people we are. And I think while we can celebrate, you know, the race up until this date, I think it's really exciting to look forward and see where it may go and how it will evolve, really, to meet, you know, what people want these days.
James and Ken. Oh, finish, eh?
Oh, jeez, this is hard all the way.
Yeah. Hard day at the office.